The council chamber of the Vexorian Trade Consortium gleamed with cold opulence, its obsidian walls catching the flicker of holographic charts that bled red with loss. Beyond the towering windows, Vexoria's neon skyline pulsed, a glittering facade hiding the rot of corruption. At the head of a crescent-shaped table, Prince Zoltar sat rigid, his silver eyes narrowed, claws digging into the armrests of his throne-like chair. The 12 council members, trade barons, and alien elites surrounded him, their voices a barrage of venom. 70% of our energy cell profits. Gone, snarled Councillor Vren, a Zichthian whose crimson scales flared with each word. His tail lashed, rattling the table. Our markets are collapsing, Zoltar, and you offer nothing but silence. Councillor Lyra, a luminar with glowing veins, leaned forward, her voice sharp as a blade. Shipyard contracts are down 40%. Clients abandon us for cheaper alternatives, and our supply chains falter. Your leadership is a liability. Her glowing eyes bored into Zoltar, who forced a thin smile, his jaw twitching. Your father would never have allowed this, rumbled Torek, a graviton whose massive frame loomed over the table. Our investors are pulling out. The Clithian Guild threatens to sever ties. What are you doing, Zoltar, while our empire crumbles? The mention of his father stung, and Zoltar's fingers tightened, scraping the polished surface. A holographic chart flared, its red line plunging like a dying star. Councillor Seeley's, a psion with a mind sharper than her telepathic probes, gestured at it. 52% drop in our mineral index. 52. Our dominance is eroding, and you failed to identify the cause. Your sanctions are useless, your spies incompetent. Her calm tone only amplified the contempt in her gaze. Zoltar's chest heaved, his tailored robes straining. A bead of sweat traced his temple, unnoticed by all but Song Chuo Lyra, who stood silent at the chamber's edge. Her enhanced senses caught the tremor in her brother's hand, the flicker of rage in his eyes. Her energy daggers glinted at her waist, her own unease buried beneath a mask of loyalty. You call yourself our leader? Vren spat, scales flashing brighter. Billions of credits lost, and you sit there with empty promises. The consortium demands results, not excuses. The council's murmurs grew into a chorus of agreement, each voice a nail in Zoltar's pride. Myra's voice cut through, cold and final. Fix this, Zoltar, or we'll find someone who can. The threat landed like a blow, the chamber falling silent as the council's eyes pinned him. Zoltar rose slowly, his silver eyes cold and unyielding, hands clasped behind his back to mask the tremor of rage. Enough, he said, his voice smooth but edged with steel. You question my leadership, but I assure you, the consortium's future is secure. Give me 3 days, and I will deliver results. His gaze swept the council, daring defiance. None came. The councillors exchanged glances, their murmurs subdued, and filed out, leaving the chamber's obsidian walls echoing with their departure. The moment the doors hissed shut, Zoltar's composure shattered. He seized a data tablet from the table and hurled it against the wall, sparks flying as it cracked. Incompetent fools, he roared, kicking over a chair, its metal frame clattering across the floor. His silver eyes blazed, wild with fury, as he whirled on his aides, shadowed figures in the chamber's wings. Find the cause for me, he bellowed, voice raw, spittle flying. Now! That afternoon in his private chamber, Prince Zoltar paced before an obsidian desk, his tailored robes swishing, silver eyes glinting with barely restrained fury. A cloaked spy knelt before him, clutching a glowing data slate, its holographic charts casting stark shadows. Report, Zoltar snapped, his voice low, each word precise. Energy cell sales have dropped 70%, the spy said, scrolling through figures. A new material outperforms our stock. Stronger, cheaper, more efficient. Shipyard contracts are down 40%. Clients demand this same material for their hulls. The mineral index has crashed 52% as markets shift to this resource. The spy's tone remained clinical, but each number struck Zoltar like a blow. "What is this material?" Zoltar snapped, stopping mid-step, his shadow looming over the spy. "NovaCore," the spy replied, pausing briefly. "A rare mineral, mined from a death world. Its conductivity and durability are unmatched." The spy hesitated, then tapped the slate again, revealing the final detail. "And it is controlled exclusively by a human." Zoltar froze, his silver eyes widening, then narrowing to slits. "A human." His voice was a low growl, disbelief twisting into rage. He snatched the slate, staring at the name, Captain Marcus Vale. The chambers seemed to close in, the air thick with his rising wrath. "One man, one Deathworlder, dares to bleed my consortium dry." He hurled the slate against the wall, shattering it into a shower of sparks. His fists clenched, knuckles whitening, as he kicked over a crystalline sculpture, its fragments scattering across the floor. He turned, his movements deliberate, like a serpent coiling to strike. His eyes gleamed with cold calculation, lips curling into a venomous smile. "This NovaCore? I want it," he hissed, voice dripping with greed. "And this human, he must die." He leaned toward the spy, who flinched under his gaze. "Semi-assassins, Lyra, Zar, Vexa, Korg, Mira. I want his head before dawn." The spy bowed and fled, leaving Zoltar's chilling command to echo in the chamber. The shuttle's engines growled, slicing through the void toward Terra Nova, its viewscreen a maelstrom of churning jungles, lightning splitting blackened skies, and jagged peaks clawing upward. Inside, the dim cabin pulsed with tension, the air thick with the hum of machinery and the clatter of weapons strewn across a scarred tactical table. 5 assassins sat, their eyes glinting like predators in a cage, sizing each other up. Zar, his chameleonoid skin rippling, broke the silence, leaning forward with a smirk. "Let's see who's worthy of this hunt," he challenged, his voice a dare to outshine him, sparking a contest of egos. Zar twirled a poison blade, its edge catching the cabin's dim light. "Clythar's summit, a warlord's feast," he began, voice slick as oil. 300 guards, a fortress of steel. I slipped through, skin shifting to theirs, unseen as a ghost. His chalice gleamed, one drop of neurotoxin, and he convulsed, eyes wide, before the toast ended. "The unseen blade, they call me." He leaned back, smirking at Korg. "Your clumsy boots would have rung alarms." Korg's fists clenched, Vex's eyes narrowing at Zar's smug arrogance, his self-praise a grating taunt. Vexa, Scion temples pulsing, cut in, her voice cold as void. "Pathetic," she sneered, fingers tracing a neural dart. "Zikthos's diplomat, a mind like a vault." I wove illusions, flames licking his flesh, stars swallowing his kin. He screamed secrets, begged for death. I carve his throat, Mindreaver's mark on his corpse. She stared at Mira, lips curling. "Your theatrics are nothing to my artistry." Myra's glow flickered in irritation, Korg's grunt dismissing Vex's sadistic glee, her cruel relish souring the air. Korg slammed his plasma cannon on the table, the thud silencing the room. "Artistry," he roared, graviton bulk looming. "Drakthar's bastion, a rebel hive." I stormed alone, cannon blazing, walls crumbling like sand. Their leader charged. I snapped his spine with one hand. The iron storm, they whisper in the mines. He flexed, glaring at Zar. "Stealth's for cowards." Vex's sneer deepened, Mira rolling her eyes at Korg's booming machismo, his crude dominance grating like a hammer on glass. Mira, luminar veins aglow, toss her hair, standing to pose. "Power's dull without flair," she purred, energy gauntlets sparking. "Corsair's End, a pirate lord's fleet." I danced through their ranks, lasers painting the void, his flagship my stage. I dueled him, broadcast his fall galaxy-wide, Starblaze, the legend born. She winked at Korg, smirking. "You bore the stars." Zar scoffed, Vex's gaze sharpening, Myra's vain theatrics a cloying perfume, her self-obsession infuriating. Lyra sat apart, energy daggers still, silver eyes fixed on the table scars. Vex's taunt cut through. Silent again. Princess? Lyra's grip tightened, but she didn't answer, her mind slipping to Vexoria's slums. 10 years old, Zoltar shielding her from a gang's blades. We're unstoppable. He grinned, their laughter echoing. Now his eyes were ice, her daggers his tools. This human's death his greed's price. Was Marcus a threat, or just a pawn in Zoltar's game? Her heart twisted, duty chaining her to a brother she no longer knew, his corruption a wound deeper than any blade. Vexet tapped a console, a hollow dossier flickering to life above the table. Our target, she said, voice flat. The image showed Marcus Vale, a human trader, his face unremarkable, overseeing NovaCore shipments on Terra Nova. He runs a new trade hub, leads some backwater economy. Nothing special. She dismissed the dossier with a wave. Korg roared, slamming the table. A human. His grin was wide, eyes alight. First one. Our names'll echo forever. His excitement ignored the dossier's bland details. Terra Nova's storms flashing outside. Zar's skin rippled, a scoff escaping. A merchant? My blades'll end him before breakfast. Too easy. His disdain clashed with Korg's fervor, his smirk grating. Myra's glow pulsed, her hair flipping. I'll turn his fall into art, darling. A human still a stage. Her vanity drowned the shuttle's warning beeps, her thrill palpable. Vexa smirked, leaning back. His mind's a trifle. I'll break it without effort. Her cold confidence dismissed Marcus as beneath her. Lyra's gaze drifted to the view screen. Terra and Nova's jungles a roiling chaos. Lightning illuminating unseen threats. Her silence spoke louder than their boasts, the death world's jaws waiting. Marcus Vale stood in his Terra Nova outpost, a fortress of steel and grit amidst howling jungles, holomaps flickering with NovaCore shipment routes. Sweat beaded his brow as he traced a path to a Clithian trade magnate, his broad frame steady despite the high gravity. Double the escorts, he muttered to a deputy. Storms'll hit hard. The room hummed with purpose, crates of shimmering NovaCore stacked high, a lifeline for his growing trade hub. A shadow flickered. Marcus spun, but too late. An energy dagger sank into his thigh, pain flaring hot. Lyra, silver eyes blazing, stood close, her Vexorian grace deadly. Yet the strike missed arteries, hitting flesh. Marcus grinned, intrigue sparking. His hand snapped out, twisting her wrist, sending the dagger clattering. In a blur, he pinned her, her lithe form no match for his strength. Nice try, he chuckled, binding her wrist with cord, her struggles futile. He hoisted her over his shoulder, striding to the command room, ignoring the blood trickling down his leg. In the command room, a Spartan space of monitors and maps, Marcus set Lyra in a chair, her glare defiant. He grabbed 2 beers from a cooler, sliding one to her, and sat, tearing cloth to bandage his thigh with practiced ease. Why'd you aim soft? He asked, sipping his drink, eyes keen. And what brings a Vexorian killer here? Lyra hesitated, her bound hands gripping the beer. I've watched you 2 days, she said, voice low. Your people, natives, scavengers, the weak, you save them. I saw you haul supplies to a flooded camp, teach kids to filter water, guide hunters through quakes. They call you a hero. Her eyes softened, a crack in her armor. On Vexoria, the weak are discarded. I was too, as a child, starving, fighting in alleys. Zoltar, my brother, and I clawed up, but only by abandoning others. Here you give them hope. How? Marcus leaned back, his gaze drifting to the hollow map, where Terra Nova's jagged terrain glowed. I've been here years, he said, voice steady, a quiet fire building. This planet's a crucible. Storms shred villages. Raiders prey on the weak. Starvation's a constant shadow. I walked these jungles, saw tribes torn apart, children scavenging in rubble. It woke something in me. I built this hub to give them a chance. Not for profit, but survival. NovaCore's my leverage, funding food, shelters, tools. Every soul here, human or not, deserves to live free, to fight another day. That's my purpose. His eyes met hers, resolute, a man carved by the death world's trials. Lyra's breath caught, her silver eyes wide, seeing not a target but a man whose compassion defied her world's cruelty. The memory of Zoltar's greed, his cold order to kill Marcus, clashed with the man before her, his wound bandaged, offering her a drink. Her heart shifted, Vexoria's ruthlessness fading against Terra and Nova's hope. Marcus set his beer down, studying her. "You're not dying today," he said, cutting her bonds. "Stay. Help me build this." Lyra froze, then blurted, "Others are coming, assassins. They'll kill you for the NovaCore, for threatening their power." He raised an eyebrow, a grin tugging his lips. "More guests for this wasteland? Who else wants a piece?" Lyra frowned, hesitant. "You're a target because you protect these people. They want you dead." Marcus laughed, a deep, defiant sound. "Let him come. I'll play their game." He leaned closer, eyes glinting. "But you, Lyra, you don't need to die. You're different. Stay, help me. I see it in you." Her lips parted, words failing, as his faith in her stirred something long buried. A thunderous explosion rocked the outpost, glass rattling, alarms blaring. Marcus sprang to the window, peering through the storm's haze. A massive figure loomed in the distance, plasma cannon glowing. Korg, the Iron Storm, his silhouette a harbinger of chaos. Outside, through the storm's haze, Korg loomed, a graviton titan, 8 feet of rock-like muscle, his cannon glowing molten. Lightning illuminated his scarred hide, a relic of his seismic homeworld. Marcus laughed, a deep, reckless sound, and leaned toward Lyra. "Big guy thinks he's tough." He grabbed the loudspeaker mic, voice booming across the outpost. "Soldiers of Terra Nova, show our guests some Earth hospitality. Private Cortez front and center. Welcome him properly." Lyra glanced at him, silver eyes wary. "You're sending one soldier?" Marcus winked. "Cortez'll do fine." His mind flicked to Private Elena Hammer Cortez, a wiry Earthborn scout from Amazonian jungles, where she'd wrestled venomous predators as a kid. At 22, her brash grin and barehanded brawls had earned her nickname. She was his outpost spearhead, itching to prove Earth's mettle. Outside, Cortez strode through the rain, her combat vest soaked, dark hair plastered to her face. "Hey, Rockhead," she shouted, voice cutting through the storm. Korg's cannon swung toward her, his gravelly laugh echoing. "A puny human? I'll crush you like gravel." "A puny human? I'll crush you like gravel." He'd faced Deathworld beasts, but Earth? A myth he dismissed. His homeworld's quakes forged strength, not speed. Cortez smirked, dodging a plasma bolt with a roll, her reflexes honed by Earth's predators. "Slow poke," she taunted, closing the gap. Korg fired again, scorching Earth, but she was already airborne, leaping with Earth's high-gravity muscle. Her boots slammed into his cannon, wrenching it skyward. The weapon misfired, blasting a tree to ash. Korg roared, swinging a fist like a boulder, but Cortez ducked, her speed a blur. She grabbed his arm, twisting with leverage no graviton could match. "Earth's heavier than your pebble planet," she grunted, slamming him face first into the mud. Korg thrashed, his 245-pound frame shaking the ground, but Cortez's grip held, her calcium-dense bones unyielding. She yanked his arm back, dislocating it with a crack. "Stay down, or I break the other one." Korg gasped, pain shattering his arrogance. He'd underestimated humans, blind to Earth's crucible, gravity twice his homeworld's, predators that hunted in packs, storms that raised continents. Cortez stood over him, panting, her fist raised. "You're tough, but we're tougher." Lesson learned. From the command room, Marcus watched, grinning. "Told ya," he said to Lyra, who stared jaw tight. Korg staggered up, clutching his arm, and retreated into the jungle, his cannon abandoned. Cortez saluted the window, her smirk wide. "Guest gone, sir." Marcus chuckled, turning to Lyra. "That's Earth for you. More coming." Lyra nodded, uneasy. 3 others, Zar, Vexa, Mira. Marcus's grin widened. "Good. Cortez'll need the practice." Marcus Vale stood in his Terra Nova outpost, a fortress of steel amidst howling storms, hollow consoles casting a pale glow on his weathered face. The air was thick with urgency as Private Cortez burst through the door, rain dripping from her vest. "Sir, Haven's dying," she panted, thrusting a data slate forward. Marcus's eyes narrowed, scanning the report. Colony Haven, 300 souls, 60% children. Fungal blight, 90% crop loss. Viral fever, 30% mortality projected in 48 hours without antibiotics. Images flickered, skeletal children clutching empty bowls, elders collapsing in fevered heaps. "They're begging for supplies," Cortez added. "Food, purifiers, meds now." Marcus's fist clenched. The high gravity of Terra Nova, 8.8, 1 meters per square second, mirroring the weight in his chest. Haven was his responsibility, a fragile spark he'd sworn to protect. "Load the hover sled," he ordered, voice like iron. "Full cargo, grain, water purifiers, antibiotics." He'd lead this mission himself, his presence a beacon to Haven's desperate souls. No one else could navigate the jungle's wrath or face the consortium's assassins he knew were hunting him. Lyra, her silver eyes sharp since he spared her, would join him, her Vexorian agility crucial for the treacherous path. "We leave in 10, he said, striding to the armory, Lyra falling in step, her daggers glinting. The hover sled roared through Terra Nova's jungle, its cargo rattling under a sky bruised with storm clouds. Marcus gripped the controls, his earthborn muscles steady against the planet's crushing gravity. Lyra crouched beside him, scanning the canopy where trees oozed corrosive sap, their branches trembling in pre-storm gusts. The air hummed with ozone, lightning's promise heavy. Marcus's senses prickled, sabotaged sensors, a psychic whisper, since dawn. As the consortium's target, he'd chosen this route to draw danger from Haven, trusting Lyra to deliver if he fell. A psychic pulse struck, conjuring a vision of collapsing cliffs. Marcus shook it off, spotting a shimmer, Zar's camouflage fraying in the damp air. A neural dart sparked off the sled's hull, Vex's silhouette flickering on a ridge, her psion temples glowing. "Ambush!" Marcus roared, braking hard. His grin was feral, adrenaline surging. "Lyra, take the sled to Haven." "Now!" Lyra's eyes flashed with defiance. "You'll face them alone?" Haven's faces, starving children, fevered elders, burned in her mind. Marcus's gaze was unyielding. "They're counting on you. Save them." Lyra's jaw set, her Vexorian past crumbling under his trust. She seized the controls, the sled lurching forward. "Don't die," she whispered, rain stinging her face as she vanished into the jungle. Marcus leapt from the sled, boots sinking into mud, torrential rain blinding him as lightning cracked above. Terra Nova's gravity clawed at his limbs, but Earth's harsher forge, 9.81 meters per square second, had sculpted him for this. He smeared mud and shredded leaves across his body, blending into the jungle's chaos, his vibroblade humming softly. Vex's psychic hum pulsed, a trap waiting. Zar's stealth lurked, a poisoned blade in the dark. Marcus's senses sharpened, Earth's predators, wolves, sharks, storms, teaching him to hunt hunters. Vex's illusion struck first, a vision of flames engulfing him, fear clawing his mind. Marcus crouched low, breathing steady, his earth honed while shattering the phantom. He spotted her perch, a ridge cloaked in stinging spores, her neural darts glinting in the rain. Moving silently, he circled, gravity straining but not breaking him. A vine brushed his arm, its sap burning his skin, but he ignored it, eyes locked on Vex's pulsing temples. She didn't see him, her psionics blind to a predator cloaked in mud. Marcus sprang, vibroblade slicing through rain, catching Vexa mid-illusion. Her dart grazed his shoulder, muscles twitching, but he drove the blade through her chest, her psychic scream fading. "No more mind games," he growled, her body crumpling, the mind reaver silenced. Zar's attack came instantly, his poison blade slashing from nowhere, neurotoxin searing Marcus's thigh. The chameleonoid's skin rippled, blending with the jungle, but Marcus's senses, tuned to Earth's subtleties, caught the rain's distortion, a faint ripple in the mud. Predictable, Marcus muttered, rolling to dodge a second strike. Zar's tripwire snapped, a log swinging, but Marcus vaulted over, gravity no match for his reflexes. He feigned a stumble, luring Zar closer. The assassin lunged, blade gleaming, but Marcus spun, vibroblade parrying, sparks flaring in the rain. "You hide," Marcus taunted, "but I see." His eyes tracked Zar's faint outline, rain betraying his camouflage. Marcus threw a stone, shattering a vine, its corrosive sap spraying Zar's face. The assassin screamed, skin blistering, and Marcus struck, driving his blade through Zar's chest, pinning him to a tree. "Earth sees all," he said, twisting the blade, ending the unseen blade. Pain throbbed, neurotoxin burns gravity, but Marcus pushed on, rain washing blood from his hands. Haven's lights flickered in the distance, the storm easing. He staggered through the jungle, lightning illuminating his path. Marcus Vale staggered from Terra and Nova's jungle, mud caking his boots, blood seeping from a gash on his arm where Zar's blade had bitten. The storm had broken, leaving a humid haze, the air thick with the tang of wet earth and corrosive sap from vines coiling at Haven's edge. His broad frame, forged on Earth's harsher crucible, defied the planet's 8.81 meters per square second gravity, but each step burned, neurotoxin lingering in his veins. Ahead, Colony Haven sprawled, a cluster of prefab shelters, their roofs scarred by lightning, paths churned to mud. Lanterns flickered, casting golden pools on faces alight with hope. Lyra stood at the heart of the chaos, her silver eyes catching Marcus's as he emerged. Crates lay open, their contents a lifeline. Children clutched loaves of bread, tearing into them with desperate hands. Elders, faces gaunt from fever, queued for antibiotic shots, their coughs easing. Lyra's daggers were sheathed, her hands stained with grain dust as she passed rations to a mother cradling a toddler. "You made it," Lyra said, her voice soft, relief softening her Vexorian edge. Marcus leaned against a crate, his grin weary but warm. "Told you they needed you." The colonists surged around them, a tide of gratitude. A girl, no older than 10, her cheeks smudged with mud, tugged Marcus's sleeve. "You saved us," she whispered, offering a braided vine. Toxic but stripped of its stinging spores, a child's gift. An elder, his fever breaking, gripped Lyra's arm, eyes wet. "We be gone without you." Workers, their shoulders bowed by gravity, hauled purifiers to the well, their chatter rising, plans to rebuild, to plant blight-resistant crops. Haven pulsed with life, its 300 souls, 60% children, snatched from death's jaws by Marcus's convoy and Lyra's resolve. Marcus watched, his chest tight, not from gravity but pride. He'd seen Haven's fields blacken, its people starve, yet here they stood, unbroken. His NovaCore trade, hard-won through blood and storms, wasn't for wealth but for this: bread in a child's hands, breath in an elder's lungs. Lyra's gaze lingered on him, her silver eyes tracing his wounds, his steady stance. "You fought 2 assassins for this," she said, voice low. "Why risk so much?" Marcus shrugged, wiping blood from his brow. "Someone's got to show Terra and Nova it's not the boss." Lyra turned, her eyes sweeping Haven's muddy heart, where laughter mingled with the jungle's distant roar. A boy shared his bread with a younger sibling, their smiles bright despite sunken cheeks. A worker knelt, teaching a child to filter water, their hands steady. This was no Vexorian slum, where Lyra, barely 10, had scavenged scraps, Zoltar shielding her from gangs only to sell their souls to the consortium. She remembered his grin. "We're unstoppable," he'd said, their laughter echoing in alleys. But that Zoltar was gone, his eyes now ice, his greed chaining her to kill Marcus, to fuel the consortium's NovaCore monopoly. The contrast hit like lightning. Vexoria abandoned its weak. Children starved, elders died, the strong clawed over corpses. Haven, under Marcus's hand, defied that. He built not for power, but for life, his blood staining the jungle to save strangers. Lyra's grip tightened on a crate, her heart twisting. Zoltar's orders, kill Marcus, secure NovaCore, were a betrayal, not just of her, but of the brother who'd once carried her through Vexoria's dark. The Consortium's empire, built on exploited colonies like Haven, was a cancer she'd helped spread, her daggers tools of their greed. A memory surged. Zoltar, years ago, promising a better life as they joined the Consortium. "We'll rise," he'd said, but his rise crushed others, his wealth stained with blood. Marcus, bleeding for Haven, offered a different path, one where every soul, human or not, had a chance. Lyra's breath caught, her silver eyes blazing. She couldn't return to Vexoria's shadows, couldn't wield Zoltar's blades. She'd face him, expose his corruption, and tear down the Consortium's stranglehold, colony by colony. Haven's hope wasn't just survival. It was a spark to ignite change. She turned to Marcus, her voice steady. No longer Vexorian, but something new. "Zoltar sent me to kill you. He's wrong. About you, about everything." Marcus raised an eyebrow, his grin faint. "Figured as much. What's your move?" Lyra's jaw set, her daggers a weight she'd redefine. "I'm going back. I'll face him, break his empire. No more colonies like Haven will suffer." Marcus nodded, respect in his eyes. "That's a hell of a fight, Lyra. You're not alone." He gestured to Haven, where a child's laughter rose, a worker's hammer struck, and lanterns burned against the jungle's dark. Lyra's chest swelled, her purpose forged in Terra Nova's crucible. She'd return to Vexoria, not as an assassin, but as a reckoning, Haven's light her guide.